Wow.
sexy new introduction.
I loved that. That was amazing.
All on the power of Canva. Woo! No, I'm just
Woo.
fun. Hey, Canva, if you want to make all your design dreams come true, design your shit with Canva. Or some shit like that. Unless you don't want to.
How the hell are you? We had some.
That's not how this thing goes. You know the order. You know
I
the
do.
liturgy.
Welcome to the Your Favorite Ants podcast. We have been experiencing some technical difficulties, so we're just rolling up in. Here we are.
Yeah.
So who are you today?
Today I am tired.
That's who you are.
That's who I
That's
am
your
today.
name.
I've had it this week. I've had it with this computer, which I can't fuck. Okay, so I'm just gonna get into my complaints real quick.
Okay.
I don't understand why all these fucking goddamn.
Watch it. Wow. Right out the gate. This is why we get
Yes.
an E. We get an E. This is why. Keep going.
An E for effort?
No, we get an E for explicit. It's like
your
all
point.
of our
I know
podcasts.
that, but what's your point?
Nothing. Keep going about rant on. Go ahead.
I don't understand why we spend all this fucking money on these supposedly high definition cameras that cost
Right.
us $200 and $100 a pop, say they work just as good as all these other things, and then they don't fucking interface with anything. They don't work with actual streaming products. They don't do shit.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And it made it like it made it glitchy. So that's what happened. That's what happened, friends.
Why doesn't it just? Ugh.
I'm just using the camera on my computer today.
Yes, and so am I. And apparently, it works brilliantly. And
I do have $100 camera down here that I don't use because I was more than that. I got it off of Kickstarter, and the problem is that it doesn't interface very well. And where do you put it? Do you know what I mean? Like it just like it's like you can't look at it and stream. So
that's most cameras though. We're never actually looking directly at the camera when we're streaming.
I know. I find best if I look at you, it works best. It figures out.
Yeah. You just gotta anyway. So I just want to say a big F you. So if you're a streamer out there and you know my pain, just I don't know, holler in the chats. Let me know that I'm not alone in my pain.
So this is a show where basically, if you can't guess, we realize we are kind of the internet's favorite ants. Lots of people like to ask us questions and we like to give lots of opinions. And so we made this show to just be the fun show that we do at the end of our work days on Fridays. So thank you so much for logging on and joining us live. If you're listening to this in the recorded version, you can always join us live from 1 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 4 o'clock Eastern Time. And we get into it. And we always ask the question first, not just to each other, but to you. How the hell are you? Kevin is mad.
Bad. I'm not bad. I'm just so frustrated. I just want things to work as they're supposed to work, right? Is that such a crime? Is it bad to want things to work? Is it bad to want?
No, but for many years, a lot of us have been told it's been wrong to have desires. So how the hell, anyone who is watching live, how the hell are you? Please let us know in the comments.
Sarah, tell me, how the hell are you? And also, do you have a code name for today?
If you're going to be tired, then I'm going to be inspired.
Wow. Come on, Christian Flex. Come on, choosing joy.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, now let me say this. In context of the rest of my week, I'm trying to fucking adjust my microphone. In context of the rest of my week, I'm actually fine. It was just a very frustrating afternoon, and I haven't seen my little man friend in a couple days, and we were supposed to hang out tonight, but he has band practice tonight because he's playing with a cool band called, get this, Cougar Sweat.
I experience Cougar Sweat. Just kidding.
Listen, this band could be for you.
40s. I experienced cougar
Anyone
sweat.
out there? Oh my god, that should have been the name of the episode, was Cougar Sweat. I'll put that
Cougar
when we
sweat.
put it out on Monday.
Yeah, I love that. Of course he's in a band. Of course he is.
Yeah, so
That's on brand.
him and his mustache. Anyways,
Mm.
done talking. I'm fine. Maybe I'm just feeling a little frustrated at the end of my day. But it's the end of
Yeah.
my week. This is my last thing. I get to spend it with you. It's always a joy. How the hell are you? Keep going. I'm going to go turn out those lights because they look awful. But I can hear you.
You're doing fine. I am doing okay. I would say I'm doing pretty well, honestly.
Well.
I have been tackling things that are very scary for me. So, completely onboarding all of my stuff to QuickBooks, which I had it before. But I just finances are something that I have a lot of fear around. Kevin can attest to me just having a lot of like, oh, I want to make sure I get my taxes right and all this sort of stuff. So, I paid a lot of money to an online accounting, and I'm finding that they're just really not that helpful.
That's
So,
the thing, is like, I thought that hiring an accountant from this little business was going to be helpful, and it turns out
yeah.
they're not.
No, but what it does turn out, and this is the thing that's kind of been beautiful, is people show up in such beautiful ways. So my friend from my former church that I was a pastor at is really talented bookkeeper and QuickBooks person, and gave me an hour and a half of their time, knowing how much anxiety it causes me. Um,
Mm.
and just sat down with me and like explained some things for me. And that was, I don't know, I just feel I'm feeling super grateful for people. Or like I went running with my run club and then we did this really fun St. Patrick's Day meal. And like, I don't know, I just am feeling really grateful for the people
What
in
is a
my life.
St. Patrick's Day meal?
So there's this great place called Muldoon's, which is a Irish pub, and we after all of our runs, we usually all go there and have we for a while we were having hot toddies because it was so cold. But now we just meet up. They make like Irish stew and like actual Irish dishes. So we all went as a big group. There's like 22 of us who went and just ate together, which really felt lovely. So I'm just feeling, yeah, I'm feeling really grateful for that. Also knowing that it's like NCAA tournament time. And I know that I'm so excited because you are the one who put a sports thing in our thing. And I cannot wait to talk to you about it because I love that you put the sports news
The
thing. We're
only
going to talk
reason
about
is
later.
because she's gay. It's only because she's gay.
Okay. You're so biased. I'm just kidding.
No, but that's the only reason I would know about it. I've actually heard about this for weeks because gay people have been talking about it.
Good.
But
We'll talk about
even
it in
though
a
like
minute.
she's had some problematic like shit in the past. But anyways, we'll get into that though.
Yes. So yeah, I am watching my team Duke play at 4. I have the shirt on, like the true straight that I am. And
Dude.
and then I am going to hope that they make it to the Final Four. They are not supposed to, but I have tickets to go see the Final Four. So I'm hopeful.
We
But yeah, I
pray.
think
We lift it up to the Lord
we
because
do
God cares about these things.
clearly. I think honestly, it has been a shit week in the news, and
Yep.
obviously, and
True.
and yet I have been feeling really grateful for the friendships that I have, and yeah, so I'm feeling well today.
I love that.
Yeah,
Also gotta say, your podcast, Recovery, still liking it a lot. I haven't been in professional ministry since being a missionary. And let me tell you what, I'm still getting a lot out of it. Also, just just really proud of you. So that's my
thank
little
you.
kudos to you.
Thank you. Yeah, that's also been a stretch for me, right? Like to do like we're figuring out how to create community around that. So, yeah, we're getting there. But there's been some really interesting conversation, especially today. A couple of episodes ago, we had Maher, who's a dear friend of mine, Sahani, speak about his experience at a mega church where the lead pastor called
Mm.
him a jihad boy. And he
Are
is,
you
yeah, he's Middle Eastern.
joking?
So
Oh my
he
God.
left, and it's a beautiful, incredible story. His story alone is just, he's amazing. But a lot of people have been commenting who know Maher, who said, Maher, this thing happened to me after you left. And there was one today where a woman was basically told that she was acting like a contestant on The Bachelor. And if they didn't stop talking about things that were happening, how were they ever going to expect to get the final rose? The lead pastor said that to a female pastor on staff.
God. Ooh,
So,
listen, it's not that I love mess, but I do love tea.
okay, well, that's true. Also, the thing that, like, I know this is like the petty part of me.
Oh,
Uh,
bring it.
I cannot wait. So I was forced, as someone who had a grant for starting a church,
Mm-hmm.
I was forced to go yearly by the United Methodist Church to go to the church that both harmed these two people I just mentioned, to go to a conference they threw about leadership because they were the perfect example of how to build a growing church. And the year that they had Mark Driscoll listed as a speaker, I was like, out. Like, I don't take my grant because I refuse to sit under the headship of Mark Driscoll. So,
Absolutely not. That man is
mhm.
bad news bears.
The funny thing is, I remember having to be at this conference, and I was on a phone call with our friend Rachel Held Evans. I was calling with Rachel, just like, I'm at this conference and I'm literally the only girl, and like chatting with her about an event her and I were doing in a
Mm,
couple months after that. And I just remember the juxtaposition of like, I have to be at this thing where these people are being held up on a pedestal. And I could sense it being there. I was like, there is something not right about this.
something
Um,
unholy
and then
about
it turns
this.
out it was, it was super sexy, but it was problematic.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where it's like sexy and like, I mean, I don't even think I find it sexy anymore. I think
No.
I think maybe a couple years ago, but now I look at it and I'm just like, I'm not asking what was I thinking. I know exactly what I was thinking. I was like thinking that I wanted to be powerful,
Mm.
you know? It's sexy in that regard, but just like once you realize that none of that shit actually matters, it really like loses its shine very quickly.
Yeah, I think power is a great way of putting that. Nashville sexy is what M called it. Absolutely.
Ding
Um,
ding.
so
Oh, speaking of Nashville, I got interviewed this week by someone who's doing a piece for the Grammys, like the
mhm,
Grammys,
never heard of it.
about
Just kidding.
yeah, about queer Christians in music and how it's changing stuff. And they were just like, what do you she said, like, what do you think is gonna happen? Like, what's going on with like actual Christian music? I said, the problem is that the contemporary Christian music industry, CCM in general, has to be a gatekeeper to this, because if they admit that a gay Christian exists,
Yeah,
that means that a gay Christian exists. And
but
because like
it's not surprising to me that music is going to be the place because it's
Mhm.
always artists. It's always artists that
Oh
move
yeah.
culture, that heal. It's always artists. Whenever things are really hard, you pay attention to the artist.
Mhm.
And I sat down with a mutual friend, Chris Hauser, and Chris came out as affirming in an article a little while ago,
Mm.
actually, and let them use his name. As someone who is like, we are talking Nashville royalty around all this stuff. And Semler, which we'll talk about in just a minute. Actually, we'll just hop into that one first.
Mm.
Semler was the one that Chris said, I absolutely cannot not lie, but like hide who I've
Mm.
been and will continue to be. And I'm for the queer community. And yes, I have made my
Mhm.
money in the Christian industry and I believe in it. I mean, we're talking this person, Amy Grant's like calling Chris all the time, and Lauren Daigle, I think is how you say it last name. Like all these people. And so Chris has dealt with trying to exist as the like kind of underground person who was trying to support and then said it's not enough. So risked their
It's not
career.
enough.
And I'm proud, and also got interviewed. And I think it might be the same person who's interviewing you guys because it's they are doing a whole thing on really
Mm.
how music and art is going to push the Christian church, or just be honest about like a lot of your favorite people are.
Listen, I said in that interview is if you took all again, it's a trope, but it's true. You take all the queer people out of a Sunday morning, there is not a lick of music to be heard.
I mean, the joke with the split in the United Methodist Church is it's a split between who's going to have good choirs and who's going to have bad choirs, and that's just the split.
Yeah. But yeah, so
In our
interesting. We
notes,
haven't even
in our notes,
gotten to our notes.
yeah, I want to get to our notes because you have pop culture and headline news. You have similar in there, and our dear friend Grace, and Reliant K, and then my life. What does that mean?
Oh, it means exactly what it says. Let me look at what I wrote just to make sure I know what I'm talking about. So this is just if you didn't already know, Semler, aka Grace Baldridge, aka the first queer Christian artist to top the Christian charts, is currently on live tour, national tour with our favorite band, Reliant K. I got to go see them here in Atlanta at the Masquerade, and when I tell you what, the 15-year-old in me who got to sit in the VIP
Right?
and watch my dyke ass friend sing about gay shit and Jesus on stage, I inspired. I don't know what else to say. I'm just like, I can't believe that. Like, that's my friend. And they're fucking queer as shit.
Yeah,
And
they
they're
are.
opening for the band that I saw for the first time at Ichthus.
Right. I think that's the
And
neat
it's always
thing
and like
too.
and as I was listening to these songs, I'm like, oh my God, like he was dropping hints the whole time that he was
The whole time.
suffering. But it was all behind happy pop music. And so all of us were just dancing and not actually listening to the words. You know? Oh, it really just like that's crazy. That's
It's
crazy.
it's also really special. Grace posted this video of this young queer kid playing guitar and singing Grace's
Mhm.
songs. And I
Mhm.
think about, Grace was always singing Reliant K songs. You were always singing Reliant K. I was like, people have been inspired, but like for a young, we know representation matters. Um, and so people have been so inspired by musicians, and to be able to say that there is this person that they can appreciate, and is also has the same identity as them is pretty rad.
Yeah.
They're just great. So I'm
So
excited. I'm
please go
seeing them
see.
in a week, 2 weeks.
Yeah, the tour is still going on. Please go see the Yeah tour of Reliant Kate featuring Semler. Bring all your friends. Go sing along all the words. And honestly, if you've never seen Reliant K live, it's a really good
They're really good.
show.
Yeah.
It's a really good show.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just me giving flowers
Marilyn
where
Manson
flowers are
ate my
due.
girlfriend, one of my favorite
Oh, a
sins.
classic. She once believed in the truth, but now she believes in what? Sin. Which was like I think it was like that was like right around the time where we're just like it's like a thinly veiled critique of abortion or some shit like that. Something really gross. But like he dated Katy Perry, so like it's fine.
Yeah, and my friend is Katy Perry was Katy Perry's guitarist for the longest time, and they're still
I'm
dear
Katy
friends.
Perry. I'm Katy Perry's guitarist now.
And Katy Perry,
Is
loves
my
to
guitarist now. I
that makes
know.
sense to me. Um,
Anyways, next thing to discuss.
I put this on our list because I was blown away. I read all these articles. I went down a rabbit hole. Okay, so we know Ukraine. We've been talking about it for a while because obviously it is what is going on, and anything that we talk about, it's in the back of our minds, right? It's there. What's happening? Terrible. Discovered there's something called hacktivists, which makes my little heart so happy because my
You just
brother,
like you just discovered this term.
uh, yeah, I did actually.
Keep
I mean,
going.
I knew people who did this work, but I didn't know that they were called hacktivists. Um, so hacktivists are doing cyber warfare against Russia, and so they were claiming all these things on Twitter, and another group of people literally went and were able to prove that everything they said they did. So they brought down, because Russia said, oh no, they haven't been able to get through our walls or our firewalls and all this sort of stuff. And then an independent source that was just looking it up found out that yes, indeed, there are like nerds, guys, because my brother's an electrical engineer. All of his friends are in that industry. And I just love the idea of them behind their computer screens, just like, and I love it. I don't know why. I think it's the 80s kid in me where every movie where the nerd was the one who like saved. Like it makes complete sense to me that we're dealing with an epic comedian who like is like leading the pack, right? The underdog. And the
Yeah,
like
because wasn't he a comedian? Then
he
he
was
ran for president.
a comedian. Yeah. The
Zelensky. God, like
Ukrainian
give him.
president. Yeah. Yeah,
Mm,
was a comedian. So really fun. Like they've been changing all the government files on government computers are now they say Putin stopped this war. So
mm,
every single file has had its name and they can't figure out what file is what. I mean, just interesting
mm.
things. So I had to put that in there because I love the
I think it's
idea
great.
of nerds taking over the world.
And I would also, it makes me, it's one of those things where like I love things like The Matrix,
Right.
and it's like I would love my superpower. I want to be a cyborg. I want to be like I want like my hand to like open up and like little wires go in and tap into a computer and shit. I want to
Oh,
have
okay.
like I want to be able to like look at somebody's phone and hack it. You know?
Mhm.
Like I want to be able to like, bump my hip up against an ATM and a bunch of bills fly out. That's my kind of stuff.
Oh, that Ryan Reynolds movie I think I told you about that was so good, where he's in a computer game and realizes he's in a computer game.
What was
He-
this?
It was maybe I didn't tell you about it. It's called like Blue something guy. Anyway, he in the movie. It's so good. It came out like a couple months ago, but it's on all the airplanes. Um,
Hmm.
it
Only hack for good.
yeah. So one of our comments that we just got was only
Only
hack
hack for good. Yes.
because yes. Thank you, Derry and Danielle.
I don't know who you are, but I want to be friends with you. You look cool.
Yeah.
Um, I would like to bring attention to the two things.
Go.
One, WNBA's Brittany Griner has been held in Russian prison for like over 2 weeks now for allegedly having vape cartridges with
Mhm.
hashish oil. And that's illegal in Russia. And you might be thinking, wow, why was a WNBA player over in Russia during a time like this? Well, I'm glad you asked, because we don't pay WNBA players what they're
Nope.
worth.
So they all play on
Uh,
side teams.
they go play on the side team. So she's over in Russia kicking ass, making coin and whatnot. And then Ukraine kicked off. And then, oh my God, all of a sudden here's an American that we could possibly do it. Oh my gosh. And she's a lesbian and
And
she's
she's black.
black. And so it's like, and like, what are we going to do about it? We have no idea, because you know why? It's one of those things where just like, I have no idea what we could do.
They are
Like,
negotiating hardcore for her. They are it's really hard because um I just read this article that she'll be there at least for 2 months before she even has a trial. This is a 31-year-old, and I know in your notes you said they don't know where she is. She's in Moscow, but they don't know the exact location of where she is. But there is a group of Moscow um, activists who are paying a lot of attention
mm,
to her, and trying to make sure that she's okay. She's sharing the cell with two other women who also have not had a trial and are in prison. Here's something that I think is badass about her. I don't know if you know this about Brittany. She's 6'7". That
mm,
is a tall girl. And I don't know why, but in my head, I love the idea of her just standing up to Putin, just her height. I don't know why. In my mind, it makes absolute sense why, a lot of articles I've read are about like this is the wrong person to arrest
mhm,
because it's just putting people up in arms. But also, we don't talk a lot about like you say, the fact that the WNBA don't make enough to make this their job, right?
Let's just talk about the fact if there was no wage gap,
Mhm.
this probably wouldn't have happened. So not only, I mean, just like the sexism, racism, patriarchy, it's just giving disgust for
But it's
me.
also that she's played in Russia since 2015 and has a lot of,
And
like
I'm like, come on, like that's not the first time that this person has brought this with them. Just now you're gonna do it. It's because it's just, gives political theater, you know,
mhm.
gives let's really try to hit him where it hurts.
And I understand they make a living wage, and I understand that they make a solid amount of money for the average American. It's just when we look at it compared to their the athletes of the other gender. So I also want to say I am really excited. We have the first time in the NCAA tournament that both the female and male events are being called March Madness. And when you make a bracket for men, you can make a bracket for women, and it's in the same thing. And ESPN has bumped all the women's games above. So when I log in to watch basketball, it shows me which women's games are playing before it shows me which male games are playing. It's like a sneaky little thing they're doing to try to get more people to watch the women's games. And the announcers speaking during the men's games are also being like, "Oh my gosh, did you check out the latest game?" And like talking about the women's games as well. So I don't know what's going on ESPN, but I don't know if it's Britney related, but I feel like we are starting to recognize the fact that women's sports should at least be talked about. And our really good friend Scott,
Not at
Eric's,
least. Not at least.
no, I know.
What do you mean? Say what you actually think.
I think
Women's sports need to be
on the same level and
and are.
promoted, and it is a very different game. I'll admit to you, the WNBA is a very different game than watching the NBA. There, it's just the way. Except when we talk about Brittany, who is 6'7", she's the same as the guys in the NBA. Like a lot of times, the games are played a little different. Layups, whatnot, happen more because a lot of players are like my height. Like we have 5'4" professional female football
I mean,
players.
let's be honest though. It's still much more exciting because let me tell you what, the women's basketball game at Christopher Newport University, those were the champions. I
Yes.
saw somebody eat it into the bench, like their face went right into it. It was dramatic. She walked it off. She
Hmm.
walked it off. And then she got a 3-point and we took the championship.
Yeah, and
I don't
I
care
think
about sports, but I cared about my school.
I love too that a lot of this is coming as I was a soccer player. I love that women's soccer are the ones who are like, mm-mm, we're just going to stand up. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about, yes, we understand. If you want to talk about ticket sales versus how much you pay your players, we can even show that that's not true.
Oh,
And so I think
sorry. Keep
you're
going.
fine. I love that this has been something that athletes, I feel like the women's soccer team has done a great job in starting the conversation in so many places. Also, we need to get Brittany out of prison because for having oil, they say hash oil is what they've put it at. She doesn't even get to start talking about it um, until May is the first time she'll be seen in a court. So she's
Yeah.
just going to hang
Tell
out
me
in a.
Putin's not smoking weed.
Oh, come on.
Please.
Absolutely. So there we go. Sports. We did it. We talked about it.
Sports. And now I've got one more thing I need to gripe about. And then today, on the hotline, we have 2 text messages and 1 video message.
Okay. Can I request which? Because you've got two things on here. I want to talk about the
Yeah.
Sunshine Protection Act. Can you talk a little bit
That's what I
about
wanna talk
that?
about. That's all I wanna talk
Perfect.
about. I get it. If you didn't know, the Sunshine Protection Act is basically we're going to do away with this whole time changing thingy because it's not good for anybody. Great. Love that. I've wanted that. I think that's really, really cool. And at the same time, the thing that is so frustrating is like, why is it that this, like, what have we been asking for since we fucking elected Joe Byron? We said we wanted
Byron.
universal health. Joe Byron, take me to dinner. We asked for universal health care. We asked for common sense gun reform. We asked for police accountability. We asked for student loan forgiveness. We asked for a universal pre-K. We asked for a
Mm-hmm.
living wage.
Mm-hmm.
All of these things that he
Mm-hmm.
ran on, etc., etc. And what did we get? The Sunshine Protection Act, which we got the Sunshine Protection Act.
I just love the
There's a
idea that
war in Ukraine that apparently we can't help with, but you can get.
you're gonna protect the sun.
We're gonna this thing that none of us are thinking about, none of us are really asking for. This is what you bipartisanly put through, and Joe Biden's like, I'm gonna sign it. Politics works. Oh my fucking god! I'm going to rip out my eye or something. I don't know what else to do because it is so frustrating. I'm just like, I hate it. And like we have a majority except for fucking Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema.
It's really frustrating when we think about everything that has happened because of the pandemic and people can't agree on that. We have senators and it has become a weird spectator sport, right? And this is the
Some
one
of
thing
it.
everyone's like, we can agree on this.
I'm like, so you know what? On that level,
Uh-huh.
I give thanks that they got one thing done.
They did.
Oh, but God, I just fucking fuck, man. That's what I think about it. It is the most.
Steve.
That's my feeling about it. It's just I can't believe that the thing that we've been people joke about as though
Mhm.
like this is the thing I'm really running with. This is an interesting cue we can get into this one here.
Great. Yeah, bring it up.
This is what do you guys think of COVID now being over? Does that seem strange?
It's
A
not
not
over.
and I'm going to continue to follow CDC guidelines, common sense guidelines, and anything a community asks for. For example, my church, we're still wearing masks inside. Even though like we're about to go to brunch and sit outside and not wear masks. As long as we're inside, we're just trying to be smart as we can be while still being together. So I'd say I'm also the person who has been to plenty of drag shows and goes and sings karaoke. So I personally, but also all the places I go to, like, excuse me, it's mostly queer spaces, and I don't know a single queer person in my circle who isn't vaccinated thrice.
I know. So I think this is interesting. Because I think so many people are like, oh, now we have a war, and so we're not dealing. No, like the timeline has nothing to do with that. And if we're honest, I don't know if you've seen the numbers. Things are going crazy in Europe again.
Oh yeah,
So they're thinking that we're going to have to do 4 vaccinations.
bring it on.
Uh, yeah,
Give
I'm
me
fine with that.
5.
At this point, if I glow in the dark, whatever. But I'll
Yeah,
have
I
to
just
admit to you, there is something lovely of seeing like kids in my neighborhood. So there's an elementary school in my neighborhood. Last week was
mhm,
the first time where I saw kids' faces. And I thought,
mm.
this is lovely. Like for 2 years, I have not seen these little tiny tots that go to the schools, little faces. I mean, they were outside. I don't know if they have to wear their masks inside, but they weren't.
Tiny tots with their eyes all aglow
Oh
will
gosh.
find it hard to sleep tonight.
Okay, what are the questions you have from folks? Because I know we're
Okay.
getting towards the end of our hour.
Okay, so now we're coming to the last segment of the show, which is ask your aunts, ask your favorite aunts. And so
How can people do that?
it's a very simple way. It's things you can do is you can. I think I need to set up a URL, so that's what I'm going to do this week. But for now, there's a link in my link tree where you can just click. It's the Your Favorite Aunts Advice Hotline. and you can send in a video. You can send in a text message. You can send an audio message, and if you send in a video message, we'll play it live on the air. If it's good, if it's weird, I'm not going to play it. So I leave that up
That's
to
a
my
good
discretion.
disclaimer.
Yeah, you don't want to. I mean, like, I'm just saving you from embarrassing yourself because that's my role as your aunt. Okay, but this person did not. So this is Eve, and
Eve.
she'll introduce herself. So here's our little video message from Eve.
Hey aunties, my name is Eve. I'm from Nashville. She, her pronouns. I am getting a piercing.
Wait, hold on. Why
Why
is
was
it
Eve
so?
stretched?
Why is it so wide? Okay, let me do. I
Also,
want.
this is the superficial part of me. I could not stop staring at how cute that like kimono shirt is. I'm like, I don't know what you're about to talk about, but I'm into the shirt you're wearing. Eve, come back and be
No,
squishy.
let me see if I can do it this way. I'm going to see if I can do a share screen moment.
Okay.
Share screen window.
I
This
also
one.
love.
Share. Okay. So
There we go.
Can you see it? Can we
Yes, it looks
hear
great.
it? Can we hear it? Let's find out. Can you hear it?
No.
Okay. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna.
What is her question? Also, this is an adorable human. I think we're getting a beauty question, and I cannot wait.
So this is.
We're gonna figure this out, guys. Don't worry.
Okay. No, hold on. I'm just gonna.
Aren't you glad where we're trying to do this live?
Yeah, this is my. So here's the audio.
Hey aunties, my name is Eve. I'm from Nashville. She, her pronouns. I am getting a piercing soon, impulsively. Do I want a septum piercing? Do I want a ring on one of my nostrils? And if so, which nostril? Here are two views. Or should I just go basic and get like a hoop in the ear? I need to know. A girl needs to make this impulsive decision like yesterday.
Okay, so here we are. This is the most important. This is important stuff. These are the
I
things
think
that you.
we have to admit our we have to admit our bias in this. You and I have matching nose rings.
We do. We do. But
so
I want to take a moment to just like let's
look at this cute face. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think a septum piercing will look
Yeah.
she's so pretty.
But just like let's just like observe the face for a minute.
And I'm so sorry to those of you who are listening later, but also go on YouTube and watch the video.
Yeah. Also the nails.
The nails are perfect.
thing.
Also gorgeous hands, whatever.
Like the thing is just like the nose, like literally, let's back it up for a second. Like, first of all, great bone structure, like incredible.
Yes.
You've got the kind of face, like I think that like you could probably get a septum and it would be very cute because I'm the kind of girl who my nose is a little crooksy, you know? A little crooksy, which I'm fine with, but like the shape is better for that. I really you could go in either way.
You could
That's
go
the
either
thing.
way. I will admit to you that I kind of love a septum piercing.
They're so fly.
I'm
Septums
not
are real
brave. Oh
in.
wait, I think Daring Danielle. Could you pull up Daring Danielle's response because I think this is really important. I have a septum piercing because they're easier to hide when needed and they don't leave a hole or a scar.
That's
and I
true.
just yeah, they're so. I think you could go either way. I just think I am currently a little bit. I love my hoop ring. I've had it since I was 21.
Are you gonna get a septum?
No, I don't think it would be cute on me. But I just feel like cute on Eve. She like they can be cute on her.
I mean, like I think septums look really good on a lot of people. I think it look great on you. Also, it's like also get a little ear piercing too, like just for funsies. Like it is so fun to just be able to just like throw a little whatever in your ear and have fun with it. I love having my ears pierced. So
hey babe, the other day someone asked a question and I don't know if you ever answered it. You were wearing a snake earring. Where did that snake earring come from?
I got it at a craft fair. I can't remember. Sorry. Okay, so
we're here for these questions. We're your aunts. We'll talk to you about what's going on in Russia and Ukraine, and we'll talk to you about which side of your face you should pierce.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so this one is aimed for I wonder how he is like. This one is from Rosemary, she, her. Rosemary says, I'm an ex-evangelical, thank God, and a giant lesbian with a mullet. I'm just wondering how you deal. So maybe this is to me. I don't know. But Sarah, maybe a question for you too is, I'm wondering how you deal with straight people. Yesterday was St. Patty's Day, which is basically like Pride for straight people. Yuck. And I'm pretty masculine presenting lesbian. And sometimes I'll be surrounded by supposedly straight women who are flirting with me while talking about their boyfriend and cis hetero things. And it's just so exhausting. But I do love the attention. Any advice?
Yeah. So here's what I'm going to say
straight pride
is a straight person.
Oh, sorry.
Sometimes my people are well-meaning, but we tokenize. And particularly around like, oh, this is my gay friend. I have a lesbian friend. Like, and particularly around, it's almost like a virtue signaling. Like, I'm okay with you so much so I can like flirt with you, not recognizing like, do you flirt with dudes that you're like, if you're a straight female, do you flirt with dudes that you're not interested in? Like, it's hurtful. And I want to put out a PSA. Also, if you're not the kind of person who is into non-monogamy and you have a boyfriend, stop flirting with people, no matter what gender it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Period. How
do you deal with us straights, Kev?
Well, if I'm in a place where it's like I can't, I mean, like I try just not to be around a lot of straights, if I'm being honest. That's a true statement. The majority of the time, like I have like few and far between, and the ones who are straight are like barely straight. You know, you are not the barely straight one.
I know. Yeah, I was taking it as a compliment because my straightness offends, and I get it.
My straightness offends. I mean, you can't help it. It's just,
I was born this way.
Yeah, you were born with that toxicity in your body, this incurable disease called heterosexuality. I pray for you.
Okay, I'm going to be honest about something. I sometimes think about my parents who were like the coolest people. I sometimes think about how much of a wasted parental unit they are on having two straight kids, because my parents would have been great parents. And so I think that's why they like, my friend always jokes that my parents have a lot of gabies. But it's like they just have a lot of people who in their life, my parents have been the only people to show up within a parental role and just be like, that's great. But also like, what's going on with you? And I think, not that they're wasted parents on us because they're incredible parents, but I just think, if some of these gay kids had grown up with Bob and Chris Heath, how much more could they have been themselves? Whereas my brother and I are both just boringly straight.
We have one more cue that could be very helpful, I think. This is from, we're going to call them...
I thought you were about to say Wolfgang. I have no idea. You're
Wolfgang.
Like, this is from Wolf.
Yeah, this is from Wolfgang.
Okay,
all right, perfect. Wolfgang says, hey, I was raised evangelical fundamentalist and was raised in the thick of purity culture in my area. I'm struggling so much with shame attracted to sex. I recently had sex with my partner for the first time, and I still have the chewed gum metaphor in my mind. I'm deconstructing. I'm in a progressive seminary, but I can tell my body is holding on to that stress much more than my mind. But I cannot shake off that fear. Oh,
we want to just help you discover the work of Dr. Tina, who discusses the truth that no one is talking about, but there's been like actual peer-reviewed case studies that purity culture is as toxic as actual sexual assault. So there are things like, particularly within a feminine body, and I don't know whether this is a feminine or masculine body, but within a feminine body, things like vaginismus, which is basically like a actual spasm where female body is not ready to accept the male anatomy, right? Like literally cannot.
AKA your vagina is
Vagina,
literally too tight, and it
yeah,
is
it's not
painful to be
just tight. We're
penetrated.
talking like spasm.
Impenetrable.
Yeah, impenetrable. And so I just want to invite you to know that you are not alone.
Mm-hmm.
It is not unique. And there is a way through.
Mm-hmm.
It is going to take patience, safety.
Well, it's also like I don't think that like this is their particular problem. Their problem was just like they have the chewed gum metaphor.
That's what I'm saying. For you to
Yeah.
get rid of that in your brain
Okay. Sorry. I
is
think that
literally,
I didn't make the
sorry,
connection. Thank you.
not with the actual sexual act. Obviously, that went okay. But the brain stuff that comes later, give yourself some patience and time to recognize that your body is just going back to the way that your like connection in your brain has happened. That's an actual physical thing. Like your brain goes straight to this is not okay. Your brain
Right.
doesn't go straight to, it like bypasses your pleasure. Dr. Tina, who is someone that both of us adore, she's got some great writings about this and some great like audiobooks to help you think through it so that you can start to like feel better about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I would say, if you're not seeing a therapist yet around this stuff, it also, if you're a queer person, period, go see a therapist.
Yeah. Or just a straight person.
If you're a person, go see a therapist.
If you're a person, if you are in a body, it doesn't matter what the body is doing.
If you are breathing and you understand what I'm saying to you,
the words are hitting your ears. Go see a therapist.
Go see a therapist. That's for all of us. Definitely that. And I'm going to say the same thing I say for everything: unbearable compassion for yourself.
Yeah.
I think I have been there. I remember the first time I had sex. First time I had sex was in college. I was 24, and turns out the guy I was having sex with was way too drunk, and I didn't realize it because we had to stop in the middle of it and he had to go throw up. And I was like, oh my God, you're drunk. And even after that was all said and done, I didn't feel bad. I was like, okay, so nothing happened. Like it was nothing like crazy, but it was just like, but I just kept going back to him like, I've done something wrong. I think I've done something wrong. I can't, but it's just like, but it didn't like, even though it was one of these things where it's just like my body was like, I haven't done anything wrong. But like my brain was like, no, we've done something wrong. And so that kept me oscillating between something like, I know like this thing that my body was naturally feeling and wanting and finally getting to experience, and my programming. It literally is a mental programming. And so when it happens, when that kind of shame reaction happens and you think you're nothing but a piece of chewed up bubble gum, you look at that as like, oh my God, you know what? It would make total sense that
For
I
me to
think
feel
this
that way.
thought.
Yeah.
It makes total sense. And that's what I tell myself all the time when I have when I have a shame reaction. It's like, you spent most of your life believing something terrible. And so your body, even though your brain, you got better thought, right? Your body's still trained in a certain way. The mechanism is still trained. You got to be patient in how you train yourself out of it. And so every single time it comes up, it's just a opportunity for you to slow down and say, oh my God, this shame I'm feeling right now is so normal, but I don't have to feel it. What do I need to do right now to make myself feel better? And that's it.
Connect some positive things to the experience as well. Like, I think it's really important to go, was I connected in that moment? Because it sounds like this came up later. So kudos to you to feeling connected in that moment and to be able to be with someone that you felt safe enough to have sex with. That's exciting.
Cool.
Yeah, look at that. Like, and sit in that. So like, yes, the shame is totally normal, but also celebrate like that you felt okay enough in your body. You felt safe enough with someone to allow them to participate in your body. Like, it's just something to, as much as we talk about allowing grace for that part, but also like giving yourself some moments of like joy and celebration that like I was programmed to not feel okay in this. And yet I was able to show it for myself and for my partner and like let myself feel excited. We had fun.
I got to have an orgasm. Hopefully.
We did that. Hopefully. If not, next time, whatever.
Yeah, that's also the thing. Don't put pressure on yourself to have an orgasm.
No, have
because
fun.
Here's the thing, as somebody who's out there, I get real nervous sometimes, and especially if I'm with somebody new. I might like one of my partners I was with, we were with each other for like 2 weeks, and like I were having sex for like 2 weeks, and like I could not
Straight?
come.
I'm just kidding.
Pretty much. But
Oh,
like
the
I couldn't
hydration.
finish. I couldn't finish because I just had, and so I was Googling it, and it was like, I was like, oh, this is a psychological barrier.
Mhm.
And so I took it to my therapist. It's like, yeah, just like, I was like, okay. So I was thinking, okay, so what do I need to do? So I was just like, I had to start doing some kind of inner work of like, do I think I deserve to feel pleasure like this? Do I think it's okay for me to
Yes.
like this? Do I think it's
Yes.
okay for me to have another man touching my body in this way? It's like a whole another level, you know? And so, yeah. Yeah,
Also,
so it's 2 weeks straight, that's a commitment. Yes. He was very good to me. He was so patient,
ugh.
and which is why I'm now infinitely patient with the other people now I have
Can
sex
we
with too.
also just normalize sex isn't always the number of couples I've had to chat with through this. It
Mhm.
isn't always like it is in the movies where it's easy and makes sense and I feel good about it. Like,
No.
I think
Ugh.
we need to normalize
Weird
th
sex.
well, that you feel uncomfortable or
Oh,
that
yeah.
someone in the midst isn't like, it's not always whatever, and I think we haven't
No, like, let's be more specific than whatever. It's not always what?
it's not always, natural is the word I was looking for. You
There
don't
we go.
always feel natural within it. You
Mhm.
there might be a sense of like, oh, like you get in your head and that's not abnormal. There's nothing wrong with you for that,
Mhm.
particularly if you up within a purity culture to get inside your head and not be able to
Mm.
like participate. Someone said I feel sexual guilt and now, oh sorry, that was during Danielle. Now that I've stopped drinking, it's difficult to connect emotionally and sexually, right? So those things, that's not abnormal. We
Mhm.
have we have made it normal that people like, in all the movies, like, oh, I accidentally slept with this person. So we think that it's so normal that you could
Mhm.
accidentally do it. Like you could slip and fall and all of a sudden have sex. It's not always natural. Now it's something natural for people to do, but I don't
Mhm.
think we should like make it where
It's not yeah, there's nothing wrong with you if you're not
that's
having sex.
thank you. There's nothing wrong with you. That was
Yeah.
the word or phrase I wanted to get to. There's nothing wrong with you.
Yeah.
And also let's celebrate and make it normal for couples, one
Mhm.
partner or the other to say, it's okay that that you're not doing great. It's not
Yeah.
unsexy. It doesn't make you a terrible person. It doesn't,
Yeah. I mean, like, straight up, like, this is I mean, I can leave this out, uh but, like, like, for me, like, I had a lot of shame around sex, and so there was one time where, like, I had a really painful memory unlock during sex, and
no,
I had a panic attack right then and there, and he did not know how to handle it. Of course, how could he know how to handle it?
right.
Who starts who starts having a panic attack during sex?
A lot of
Traumatized
people,
pe
a
traumatized people
lot of
do.
traumatized
We
people do.
do. And so it just goes to, like, whatever happens, wonderful.
I think that's
You
the
know?
thing is like normalize communication,
Mhm.
normalize
Self-care, like, I went over to somebody's house
self-care
the
is
other
great.
night, and, like, we were about to go at it, and then he said, "Hey, can we actually stop? I'm not feeling really sexy anymore, and I don't really feel like having sex." And I was like, "That's totally fine. Do you wanna go sit on the couch?" And so, we did that instead, and we had a lovely time hanging out. And so, that for me is, like
But that
yeah, it's
also required you to feel like you didn't fail or
mm.
that a conquest wasn't met. And some of that is like the language and the
Oh,
work
yeah.
that you've done to make yourself feel like, yeah, this has nothing to
Mm.
do with me, but I can be part of the healing of this. Like, or I can be
Mhm.
part of like, I think that we just make it like, you know, uh, that person took their virginity, or like we use this language that's very conquest oriented or very
Mhm.
military almost oriented around sexual.
Transactional,
Right. It's like
or as if
vanquished, I have ravished. We use all these words, and I think that it creates this thing where one person feels like they need like, oh my gosh, I feel uncomfortable around here. What do I do? And the other person is feeling like, ugh. like I
Mm-hmm.
lost. Like almost like I
Mm-hmm.
lost if it didn't. No, you didn't lose an evening. You had a great time with this person.
Mm-hmm. And it's okay to feel disappointed that like you wanted to have sex and then you don't get to have sex. That's fine.
Yeah.
And you can also understand in the same way. Like I'm no longer disappointed. I used to be somebody like that where it's just like, oh, okay. Because again, I thought it was about me. I thought I constantly thinking like, no, if that person doesn't want to have sex, it's because they do not want to have sex. It is, and it, and if it's because of me, then good. I don't want them to have sex with me if they don't want to have sex with me. You know, makes
Right. It's not a
uh,
requirement.
yeah. And I'll tell you what, there's I just want to tell you, just like leagues do not exist
No.
because I have had sex with all types of different kinds of bodies, and some of them are the one of some of the like you look like a fucking model, and you what are we? Huh? You want me to do what to you?
I just okay, if you literally are listening to this later, you have to watch the video of Kevin's little shoulder. Like
I
it's
was
like we're not even
modeling.
here anymore. Kevin was on their own.
This is my
They were
show. Welcome to the after show.
yeah, seriously.
When
Yeah,
we're
I just want to say there is an entire culture that made people feel like they were no longer worth as much.
mhm,
And it is okay for you to still feel that tinge
mhm.
and say to yourself, "Is this true?" And then sit with it. And then give yourself a lot of grace and figure out what you need in that moment and also celebrate the things that went well.
Yeah, definitely celebrate. Oh yeah, check in. What went well in sex? That's a really good thing.
What went well?
Um,
Also, in Canada, growing up, have I ever told you the songs we were taught as a kid? We were taught as children in kindergarten, this song. My body's nobody's body but mine. You run your own body. Let me run mine. And we were taught how to do consent with that as children.
incredible,
Uh-huh.
incredible. Well, friends, it's
Thank
come to the
you.
end of the top of the hour. We had a great time today.
We are so glad
Um,
to that you joined us.
yeah, what a fun episode. Please be taking care of yourself. Before we go, let's do our normal promos. If you're here on the YouTube, please like, share, and subscribe.
Yes, please.
And then follow me at the Kevin Garcia. Follow Sarah Heath at Rev Sarah Heath across all social media. Sarah, what are you promoting right now? What other projects you got going on? How can people give you money?
Yeah, people can give us money. My co-host and I are going to be launching a Patreon this coming Monday for Revcovery, and it will allow you to become part of the community. The reason that we're doing that is to make sure that people have some buy-in so that we don't have any crazy people. And you can buy my books on Amazon. I've got 2 books. I'm actually, you know what I didn't say earlier that is really exciting for me? So I wrote a book about like knowing your story and being able to tell your story years ago. I love it.
Mhm.
I still think it's a good book. And it's called What's Your Story? And I just got asked to and get paid to be a speaking coach for folks who have experienced homelessness, those who have been unsheltered, to be able to tell their story in public settings. And so we're doing all the work from the first book I ever wrote for them to be able to share their story. So they found me the United
Gag.
Way. I know, I cannot wait. So
Sarah, I just want to name once again that when you stopped pussyfooting around your actual calling, the opportunity presented itself.
I know. I am really excited about it. So I'm starting with a group of 4 folks who are going to be sharing their story. And their stories are
Woo.
so powerful. And they're people who once were unsheltered and now are on boards of major nonprofits.
Damn.
So I have goosebumps even talking about it. So that's my book. That's what I love talking about is people finding their own stories. Follow, like, subscribe, Recovery. Follow this because like
Also,
this is we're
yeah.
having so much fun with your favorite ants. We're working on some potential merchandise. I can't wait. I do as well.
I'd also that's your event. You need to have a speaking workshop. That's your next thing. Just a little online gig, a little something.
Yeah, I love it. I love helping people become better speakers.
This is gonna be fun.
What do you
Cool,
have
cool,
to
cool.
promote, my love?
If you're not following me on TikTok, go do that because we're about to break 10K over there, which is pretty
You just
crazy.
started TikTok. I need to get
I
better at it.
know. No, you don't. You just need to do it. Like it's literally, it's consistency. It's like it's a strange thing. It's just like not a whole lot. It's like 3 minutes of my day, 3 whole minutes. That's it.
I love it.
So go do that. You can buy my merch at thekevingarcia.com/merch. Bad Theology Kills is the name of the book. You can get it at badtheologykills.com. If you'd like to join the community at the Crowded Table, which is an online spiritual community for all heretics and doubt-filled believers, you can go to thecrowdedtable.mn, that's marynancy.co. And I heard that, Sarah Heath. I thought that was cute.
What?
Did you burp a little bit just now?
No.
Oh, I thought you. I thought I heard something, but I didn't.
No.
Apparently.
I think I just went, oh. Which might sound like a burp.
It was guttural. A guttural.
Oh. I
mean,
I'd let you know if I did. My burps are very small. I'll admit that.
Small burp. Yeah, join the Crowded Table for free. Check it out. See if it's your thing. You can join for as little as $7 a month, or save a little coin if you join yearly. I'd also just like to say, if you're not going for Angeria Paris Van Michaels tonight on Drag Race,
or Duke basketball.
If you're going for Duke basketball, you're homophobic.
That's so mean. I'm not homophobic, and I'm going.
I don't make the rules. I don't make the rules, Sarah Heath. So until next time, here's a crystal. This is a little citrine. I hope that it gives you a lot of money and good vibes. Don't look too closely. My nails are disgusting. I'm getting ready to paint them and clean them. And I officially need to get off the line because I can
also join us next week where we hear what piercing Eve chose.
Eve, if you're listening, please send us an update. It's important. The people need to see. And next week, I'll also work it out to where the video works more better.
Yeah. Also tell me where you got your little kimono thing, Eve. All right. Have a great week, friends. We can't wait to hang out with you next week.
I think you're beautiful. Keep safe and tight. Do everything and it'll be all right.